Among European families, the story of Sleeping Beauty still travels from fireside to kitchen table. It reminds us that love and patience can overcome even the deepest darkness, and that some precious things are worth waiting for. Before we go on, if you enjoy stories like this from around the world, please like and subscribe for new stories daily. Long ago, in a kingdom where magic was real and fairies walked the earth, there lived a king and queen who had longed for a child for many, many years. They wished upon every star. They whispered prayers into every breeze. And at last, their wish was granted. A daughter was born to them, the most beautiful child anyone had ever seen. Her parents named her Aurora, which means the dawn, for she brought light into their lives like the rising sun. To celebrate Aurora's birth, the king and queen held a great christening feast in the castle. They invited all the good fairies of the kingdom to come and bless the child. 12 fairies arrived, gliding into the throne room on wings that shimmered like moonlight on water. One by one, each fairy stepped forward and bestowed a wonderful gift upon the infant princess. "I give her beauty beyond compare," said the first fairy. "I give her a voice like an angel song," said the second. "I give her grace and kindness," said the third. And so it went, each fairy adding her blessing. Wisdom, courage, joy, a talent for all the arts. The hall rang with music and laughter, and the king and queen smiled with hope. But before the 12th fairy could speak, the great doors of the throne room burst open with a terrible crash. In flew a fearsome figure, her wings as dark as storm clouds, her face twisted with fury. It was the evil witch who had not been invited to the christening. "You did not call for me," she cried, her voice like rolling thunder. "So I shall give a gift as well. A curse." She pointed a long bony finger at the sleeping child. "Before the sun sets on her 16th birthday, the princess shall prick her finger on the spindle of a spinning wheel and fall into a sleep like death, and no earthly power shall wake her." With a shriek of cruel laughter, the dark witch vanished in a cloud of black smoke. The hall fell deathly silent. The king and queen wept, and all the court trembled with fear. But then the 12th fairy, who had not yet spoken, stepped forward bravely. "I cannot undo the curse," she said gently, "but I can soften it. The princess shall not die. She shall only sleep, and one day true love's kiss shall break the spell." The king, desperate to protect his daughter, gave a command at once. Every spinning wheel in the kingdom was to be burned. Not a single spindle was to remain, and so great bonfires blazed across the land, and the spinning wheels turned to ash. Then Aurora was taken away in secret, to a hidden tower deep in the forest, where 3 good fairies would raise her in safety, far from all danger. Years passed, and Aurora grew into a kind and lovely young woman. The 3 good fairies raised her with love in the hidden tower, teaching her to sing and to dance, to read and to dream. Aurora was happy, but she often wondered about the world beyond her window. She would gaze out at the forest and sigh, wishing she could explore the meadows and streams that stretched to the horizon. The fairies told her stories of the kingdom, but they never spoke of the curse. They wanted to keep her safe, and so they kept their secret. On the morning of Aurora's 16th birthday, the 3 fairies bustled about with excitement. They baked a cake and decorated the tower room with wildflowers, preparing a wonderful surprise party for their beloved princess. But in their joy, the three good fairies forgot to watch. Aurora, curious after so many years of solitude, slipped away from the tower room and wandered down a corridor she had never seen before. The stones were cold beneath her feet, and cobwebs hung like curtains from the ceiling. At the end of the passage, a door stood open, casting a strange golden glow into the darkness. Beyond it, in a hidden chamber, an old woman sat at a spinning wheel, her thin fingers moving swiftly over the spindle. The wheel hummed and clicked in a rhythm that seemed to pull Aurora closer, step by step. "What is that?" asked Aurora, mesmerized by the spinning motion. "Come, child, and I'll show you," said the old woman with a smile that did not reach her eyes. Aurora reached out her hand to touch the spinning wheel. The sharp spindle pricked her finger, and a single drop fell like a tiny ruby. Instantly, her eyes grew heavy. The room began to spin around her. Aurora swayed, and then she fell, gently, softly, into a sleep so deep that she seemed almost not to be breathing at all. The old woman's disguise melted away, revealing the dark witch, who let out a triumphant cackle that echoed through every hallway and staircase of the castle. Then, in a swirl of black smoke, the dark witch vanished, leaving only silence behind. Aurora lay still upon the cold stone floor, her golden hair spread around her like a halo, her face peaceful as if she were only dreaming. When the three good fairies found Aurora, they wept bitter tears. But they did not despair. They knew the 12th fairy's promise, that one day true love's kiss would break the spell. And so, using all their magic together, the three fairies cast a great enchantment over the entire castle. Everyone within its walls, the king and queen on their thrones, the servants in the kitchens, the guards at their posts, even the dogs by the fire, all fell into the same deep, peaceful sleep. The castle became as still as a painting. Candle flames froze in mid-flicker. Dust settled without a sound, and then the fairies stepped outside and let the forest do its work. Time itself seemed to pause within those enchanted walls, waiting for a day that had not yet come. But in a distant kingdom, a young prince was riding through the forest on his white horse, when he saw the castle towers rising above the wall of thorns. He had heard the legend of the Sleeping Beauty, a princess trapped in an enchanted sleep, waiting for true love to save her. Some called it a fairy tale, but the prince felt something stirring in his heart, something that told him the story was real. He drew his sword and began to cut through the thorns. But something magical happened. The thorns fell away before him as if by enchantment. The tangled vines parted and a path opened, as though the castle itself had been waiting for him all along. Doors opened before the prince as he entered the silent castle. He walked through the great hall, where the king and queen slept upon their thrones. He passed sleeping servants and sleeping guards. Everything was still, covered in dust and cobwebs, yet strangely peaceful. He climbed the tower stairs, step by step, higher and higher, until he reached a chamber at the very top. And there, in a room filled with soft golden light streaming through a window, he saw Aurora. She lay upon a bed draped in white silk, more beautiful than any portrait, more lovely than any dream. The prince felt his heart fill with wonder. The prince knelt beside Aurora, and gently he kissed her hand. In that instant Aurora's eyes opened. She looked up at the prince and smiled, as if she'd been dreaming of him all along. The spell shattered like glass. Throughout the castle, the king and queen awoke from their thrones. The servants stirred and yawned. The guards rose from where they had fallen. Dogs barked happily. Birds began to sing. Sunlight flooded through every window, bright and warm. And outside, the great wall of thorns crumbled to dust, revealing the castle once more to the world. Joy and laughter rang through every hall and corridor. The princess and the prince were married in a great celebration that lasted for days. The whole kingdom rejoiced, and the three good fairies danced among the guests, their wings sparkling in the twilight. And it is said that sometimes, on quiet evenings, if you listen carefully, you can hear the echo of fairy music drifting on the breeze. The story of Sleeping Beauty teaches us that even when things seem dark and hopeless, love and kindness can find a way through. Some gifts, like patience and hope, are worth waiting for, no matter how long the night. And that was the story of Sleeping Beauty. What did you think of the story and the lesson? Share your comments below.